We up in the lab, y'all. Let me get my music together. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whether you're on a house, you're on your couch, you're on the boat, you're on the plane, you riding horseback, elephant back, hell, even if you're riding on your dog's back, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to the Opinionated News Network. This is the Parental Advisory Podcast Series. Now, you guys are usually on here. You guys usually hear me talking with either St. Clair, my brother Metu Hotel, or my guy Paul Masson. Y'all even heard me talking to my brother Salt and Flattery. I try to bring a guest on, but sometimes there's scheduling conflicts. But we do have an acceptance podcast coming up with my brother, I call him Manchester Black. Now, we got a topic here today, something that's very much needed. And what I want to talk about today is what happened to the warrior class. At one point in time, black men had a certain oomph about them. They had something to where they would stand up for something. Men had a certain type of tenaciousness, a certain type of tenacity that I am seeing being dampened and diluted as the days go by. Now, as the anchor of this network, I am grounded in manhood. Our number one objective and goal here is restoring the identity of the black man. However, we see a bunch of caveats in that restoration process. We are stifled by our presidential nominees or our presidential electeds or electees. We are stifled by political process. We are stifled by mass marketing. We are stifled by propaganda. We are stifled by social agendas. We are stifled by the lack of finance, the lack of education, the lack of opportunity. We are stifled by the government. However, there are particular pitfalls and there are particular issues that have afflicted the black man in taking his rightful place. What they have done was inbreed or genetically breed out the warrior class of black men. Most women are attracted to a man with the warrior spirit. There's a common notion out there to say women like bad boys. I don't find that to be true. I have never found that to be true in my study. What I have found to be true in my studies is that women like a man with a certain warrior spirit. Again, a woman instinctively knows I need to find a protector. Before providing, you need to be able to protect me, okay? If you are able to provide assets but not protect a home base, excuse me, got tongue-tied there, then you a dog essentially tasting his tail. You're not gonna do anything worthwhile. Now, there has been a precipitous fall of the black image ever since we have become indoctrinated into this place where we dwell called America, or some call it America-KKK. And in light of the protests in the streets, people burning up in the streets, bodies dying, the policing policies, we are in an all-out war. Many people choose not to look at the fact that we are at war. Many people choose to glisten and gloss over the fact that we are in war. Being black is a constant state of warfare. Many people choose to say, oh, well, Barack Obama was really he was really a good president. They just didn't allow him to do what he wanted to do. The Republicans wouldn't let him be great. To that I say it's bullshit. Because as a man, when you have a warrior spirit, something that they falsely call an alpha male energy, nobody has to let you be great. You are great because you are. Nobody can dim your lights. Nobody can cheapen your message. Nobody can dampen your spirit, dampen the energy around you. There are many detractors in the midst. There are detractors who are all around us. There are people who want to be more than what they are. To be a warrior is a birthright. You can learn all the martial arts, all the karate, all of the Jeet Kune Do, any type of fighting technique you want to learn. But if you don't have the spirit of the warrior, the message is going to miss you. If you don't have the energy of the warrior, it's going to pass you by. See, it's a certain type of energy that it takes to get your motherfucking ass up off that mat after you've been beat down by life, beat down by segregation, beat down by the lack of opportunity, beat down by the disrespect that America puts on its black citizens, beat down by benign neglect. You get beat, you get whipped. Most people give up, most people punk out. But it's at that time that you have to say, I'm going balls to the wall. It's at that time that you have to say, I don't give a fuck if I fail 99 times. I'm picking myself up off the mat for this 100th time. See, the warrior energy is not an energy of necessarily winning everything. It's the energy of continuity, to keep going. It's an energy to rise in the face of adversity. It's an energy of mind control. Once you learn how to control your mind, how to control your impulses, how to control your urges, everything else is going to fall in place. Now, there are certain weak energies that are out there. Some of the weakest shit that the black community ever did as a whole was bow down and give way to the Europeanized version and interpretation of the Christ story. Because in that story, it was the breeding out and the weaving out of the warrior spirit. Because it's not for you to sit back and wait for opportunity to smack you in the face. It's up to you to go and grab success by the nuts, to go and grab dignity by the nuts, to grab self-esteem by the nuts, to grab the promised land by the nuts. It's up to you to do that. You cannot wait on a philosophical Jesus. You cannot wait for Christ to hit you. You gotta start walking in that direction and let that shit catch up to you. But I have gotten too far. In the words of Kirk Franklin, I may have gotten too radical with my message. So let me dial this back. Let's jump off into our first topic here. I want to talk about the warrior tribes of Africa, okay? There were warrior tribes on the great continent of Africa, what they call the diaspora. Now, there was a tribe called the Shona people, and that tribe called the Shona people, the Zimbabwe Empire. They ruled over what is now today white Africa, but is South Africa is what they ruled over. They bought out and they defeated the energy of the Swahili tribe. Now, you know the native tongue of Africa is Kiswahili, but we won't stop there. Continuing on, there was a tribe called the Fulani tribe. Y'all don't hear me, I'm gonna let that marinate for a little minute. And the Fulani tribe, they were a nomadic tribe, lived in West Africa along the Gold Coast. They were herders, traders, scattered throughout Nigeria, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. They were known for their military prowess. It's written that they were fierce warriors, and they were even known to enslave the other West Africans. See, these are the motherfuckers right here that gave way to the slavery by the Arabs. But we're gonna continue. That's a whole nother time. It was a tribe known as the Maasai tribe. The Maasai tribe were people who were in Kenya. These were also warriors and herders. They were in Kenya and Tanzania. These crazy motherfuckers, they used to play same way niggas play basketball today. They would play by fighting lions, just to show how strong they were. Think about that. Next, we gotta get off into some people that I covered in a book called They Came Before Columbus, in my book club. This is the Mali Empire. Now, as we know, the Mali Empire was established by Sundiata, the great warrior king. They called him the Lion King. That's where the fuck Disney stole they shit from. Mufasa was based off of Sundiata. Y'all don't hear me now. Now, they established the most powerful empire in West Africa. They had the military capability to colonize all of West Africa. They colonized all up and through there. That's what one of the strippers I was fucking with told me. She said we was all up and through there. I said, oh, for real? For real. We was all up and through there, Trent. Say, bitch, I want to be all up and through you. However, I digress. Forcing the North African Berbers to submit to their tribute. And then they resisted the Portuguese incursion. Meaning that when Christopher Columbus, at the behest of King Ferdinand, tried to come in and conquer them, they whooped their ass. The people who established Zimbabwe. Y'all don't feel me, man. Y'all ain't feeling me now. That's who, these were warriors. Come on now. These were warriors. Alright? Now, we gotta go to the Oromo tribe. The Oromo tribe is said that they are the largest tribe in East Africa. These are a bunch of niggas that look like Bone Thugs and Harmony, riding horseback. That's how they used to roll up in there. These were the Buffalo Cowboys before it was ever a fucking Buffalo Cowboy. Y'all don't feel me, but I continue. Now, they were known for the brutal expansion in the Horn of Africa during the 16th century. They conquered the fertile lands, and their territory was some of the most fertile, best lands in the nation, in the region, is what they said. Meaning that they were sitting on prime real estate that was mineral rich. Everybody knows that Africa is the most mineral rich continent in the world now. It said they were sitting on fertile lands. Fertile on a GED level, that means that it's ripe for impregnation. Meaning that if you plant your seed, it's going to grow plentiful. So what I need for your mind to do is to be fertile, so I can impregnate the seed of knowledge. Let me impregnate this seed of the warrior spirit within your heart. However, they were militarily known for crumbling the Abyssinian kingdom. And then in came the Yaju dynasty. They allowed the Ethiopians to stave off the insurgents of the Italians and the Egyptians. Okay? Now, when you get people saying they were connected to the mob is known as some universal boogeyman, like Cosa Nostra, but the real Italians are called the Mafia, the Sicilians. But what I read right here, this shit say that when they came into Africa, they met some niggas that was about that life. Whooped they motherfucking ass, turned them around, and sent them back up out of Africa. Running, goddammit. Do you hear me? Now, let's move on to the Berbers. The Berbers, y'all. I know somebody gonna be listening to this talking about Trent, take them to the bridge. General Wishbone, where the fuck you at? Now the Berbers, they were people that were scattered all throughout, meaning that they weren't in one location, they were all over. And the tribes went from Libya to Tunisia to Algeria to Morocco, even all over the West Sahara. Okay? All over the West Sahara. They were known for conquering Spain. Now, it's conflicting stories, right, that I must know. They say that Africa is named by a guy named Scipio Africanus or Africanus. But then there's also a story that says Africa is named after a North African tribe right next to Carthage, where they were called the I-Free people. And so they started to call the land Africa. Whatever the story is, whatever you choose to believe, we gonna let that be. However, they known for conquering Spain. Scipio Africanus was a general for the Spanish army. They resisted the ancient Persian colonizers, and they defeated the Roman Empire. They were known for dominating the Mediterranean Sea and conquering the West African kingdoms. They converted them to Islam. These were the Berbers. These were the motherfuckers that came in and shut Rome down. Now, as you know, white history starts in Rome, but it was some African warlords. It was some African gangster niggas, as we call them, to use a connotative term. It was some African thug niggas that made them change their minds. Think about that. Dig that. It was some Africans that made them shut their shit down. Now I'm gonna get deep off in the knowledge right now. Rome is named after two dogs. That's why come white folks are so fond of dogs to this day. Africa is named after two dogs that were brothers. Look this shit up. I wish I was lying to you. One dog was named Romulus. The other one was named Remus. If I'm lying, I'm flying and my feet ain't off the motherfucking ground. Those two dogs wandered off into Europe, into this place. Hence we get the name Rome. When you mix Romulus and Remus, you get Rome. Okay? And that's how you got Rome. Now the Romans defeated the Greeks. Okay? The Romans defeated the Greeks. That's how they established Rome. The Berbers came in and they shut all that shit down. Let me read this for you one more time. It said they were strong. They were scattered throughout Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and the Western Sahara. They were militarily known for conquering Spain, successfully resisting the ancient Persian colonizers, and defeating the Roman Empire at their start. They were also known for dominating the Mediterranean Sea and conquering many West African nations. They converted a large number of people to Islam. Traditional Islam. Not the Nation of Islam, traditional Islam. Abrahamic religion. Then now we gotta move on to my favorite warrior class of people. I got these folks tattooed on my left arm. The Zulu tribe, y'all. The Zulu tribe. They were the most famous tribe for their fighting capability, right? Now, the most known Zulu of all time is Shaka Zulu, right? Now, they were the largest South African tribe, and they were known for their ability to fight. They fucked Britain up badly. These folks were known for guerrilla warfare. As a matter of fact, many of the tactics used by the United States military come straight out of Zulu culture. They did not have advanced weaponry. Okay? Meaning that when Britain came in, the only advantage Britain had was that they had guns. But on that man-to-man shit, on that Devon Craig shit, the Zulus would have fucked them niggas up. It's commonly said that there's nothing new under the sun. It's also commonly said that white people didn't create a goddamn thing other than the gun. When they created they didn't create anything other than the gun and the patent office. And with the gun and the patent office, that's how they conquered the world. But however, we're gonna stay on course. Moving right on along. We got the Abyssinian people. Now, these people, they politically and culturally dominated Eritrea. Let me read this off. They politically and culturally dominated a group of people in Ethiopia and Eritrea. They are the lingua franca of both countries. Their military history dates back to the Axiom period, where they conquered and colonized the southern Arabians. They are a powerful mountainous people with the perfect terrain. They resisted most invasions successfully because they have a long history of warfare skills. However, in the military, this is a tactic what they call defense in depth. Okay, they had natural protection. They were a mountainous people. Mountainous meaning they lived in the mountains. Of course, it's in the name. Now, by them being a mountainous people, that served as a protection because they were able to see their enemies invading in. If you look at most of the fortresses, when you go and look at the citadel over in Haiti, it sits on top of the mountain. Most fortresses are supposed to sit up. When you go up to Mount Olympus, it's supposed to sit up on the hill. That way you can see the foreign invaders coming in. Even to bring it on up to the Game of Thrones, when you looked at King's Landing, King's Landing stood way up in the air. However, let me keep cooking, y'all. Let me keep cooking, because I'm going to go through this. These people, this is what Nipsey Hussle comes from. These are Nipsey Hussle's forefathers, the Eritreans, because we all know that Nipsey Hussle, he was part of Eritrean, y'all. Come on, keep up with me. Keep up with me, y'all. I'm taking y'all somewhere. I promise y'all. I'm gonna bring y'all back before the street lights are on. I promise y'all I'm gonna bring y'all back before the street lights come on. Now, next we have the Nubian people. Now, the Nubian people are an underrated military class. They established the Kush Kingdom. The Kush was the longest lasting kingdom in Africa. They resisted all foreign invaders from the Middle East to Europe and successfully conquered and ruled the Egyptian Empire. They defeated and resisted the Arab Caliphate and eventually converted to Islam in peace. Now I gotta stop right there. Because when we learn about African history, we stay stuck in Egypt. Because all that the white man saw was the gold of Egypt, the gains of Egypt. what they could steal from Egypt. But as the philosopher, the author, the lecturer, Tony Browder calls it, it was all Nile Valley civilization. Meaning that African culture started at the mouth of the Nile River and migrated on up to the Mediterranean Sea. What's down from Egypt? There's Nubia, there's Sudan. These are those people. See, Egyptians are the stepchildren of the motherfucking Nubian people. But they ain't loud. They ain't flashy. You feel me? Part of what got Egypt fucked up, which got black people fucked up, is because the Egyptians were loud and flashy. They was a little cocky with it, a little arrogant with it. They was out of key. They was a little out of pocket with it. You feel me? They was out here clowning on all the rest of these niggas. Nah. When you start clowning on niggas, that breeds jealousy, y'all. Jealousy brings hate. Hate breeds envy. Keep up with it, nigga. I'm going somewhere tonight, man. Now, they were a warrior class. But they were so powerful, people knew not to fuck with them. They tried to fuck with them, but they knew not to fuck with them. That's why they say my beautiful Nubian princess. You know there's nobody say my beautiful Egyptian princess. They just say queen and shit. Come on now. Y'all see where I'm going with this. Now, last but not least, we gotta move over to the Somali people. The Somalians are undisputedly the most powerful African tribe that there ever could be. Their military warfare skills and tactics are some of the best in the continent, dating back to the land of Punt, where they sent their mercenaries to Egypt, defeating the Hittites. They occupied the largest territories in Africa, scattered throughout 4 countries, such as Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Djibouti. They were an extremely fierce herder group, great traders. They had a rich maritime culture and a rich history in Africa. They were the first Africans to conduct a naval warfare, especially against the Portuguese Empire during the Christopher Columbus times, defeating them in a naval combat during the Algerian Portuguese Wars, and resisted the Oromo expansion, where they conquered their territories and forced Islam upon them. They were the first Africans to acquire modern weapons during the medieval period, with a commander named Ahmad Guri. He commanded and conquered the Abyssinian people for 14 years. Now they established a kingdom known as the Algerian Empire in the Columbian days, right? In the days of Christopher Columbus. Come on, keep up now. They dominated all of the trading on the Indian Ocean. We started to realize why come these people are called pirates. They say Somalian pirates because they want to disrespect these people. Now, they went as far as Southeast Asia, laying their power game down. They are the oldest Muslims in Africa and the largest Muslims in East Africa, and they known for spreading Islam across Africa through trade and by brute force. They forced many powerful Arab rulers to submit tribute in the most embarrassing ways. So you know they say it ain't nothing like Arab money. It ain't nothing like Somalian money. They told the motherfucking Arab invaders, man, y'all bitch ass niggas better get down or lay down. And if y'all niggas lay down, you better stay down. This is who we talking about, right? They were some of the most brutal slave owners in Africa, and they established the slave colonies and raided the Bantus or the Nilite people. Now, these are the great warrior tribes of Africa. Now, you know I'm not gonna set y'all up to let y'all down. Now, what happened? You notice that when we read through all of that, we didn't hear Christianity not one time. Come on, man. We ain't hear shit about the Bible not one time. Why is that? I wonder why. It's because the Bible, in comes Martin Luther, in comes the printing press. Those who control the printing page control the thinking of the day. Martin Luther established the printing press. They were able to mass produce Bibles. They would have several different versions of the Bible, which were, again, it was an African story. Now, when they came in with these Bibles, they took over the nation with Christianity. They started to force people into Christianity. We see the Somalian people are the ones who got us continental Africans or Americanized Africans shipped over here because they started this shit. Well, in comes Portuguese, Spanish rulers, and eventually English rulers, and converts people over to Christianity. All for resources. Okay? All for resources. Now, we had King James of the Bible, who was a homosexual. He started to write all of these evil things about black folks in the Bible. Again, he took and bastardized many of the meanings in the Bible. They sold black people to Christ stories, a story of submission. That was the beginning of the dampening of the warrior spirit. In comes the Bible, out comes slavery. Slavery, we go to America. When we get into America, you had to acquiesce and capitulate to the wills of the slave master. I don't think y'all heard me. You had to acquiesce and capitulate to the demands of the goddamn slave master. Now, a warrior spirit is a testosterone-driven spirit. So, acquiescing and capitulation should not be in your goddamn spirit. However, slavery drove all of that testicular fortitude out of the posture of the black man. In comes slavery. And we always hear about Sally Hemings and how we get light-skinned people, because light-skinned people are the product of the white slave master raping the black woman. And that did, in fact, happen. But I think one of the things that's missed in that story is the slave masters they rape black men as well. Keep up. The slave masters raped black men. It was written by a guy named Thomas Thistlewood. He was a Jamaican planter. He owned a plantation. He put in his diary where he did some homosexual assaults. He had a report of somebody named Mr. Watt committing sodomy with his Negro waiting room. Now, in slavery, there were many accounts of rape, sexual abuse by slave owners towards their slaves. Many slaves tried to fight back and resist the sexual abuse. However, that did not always result in a good outcome. While it is known that many enslaved women were sexually abused, it is important to highlight that male slaves were also sexually abused by slave owners. The sexual violation of male slaves has been unexplored for several reasons. One reason is that male victims of rape obviously didn't produce evidence of their assault in the form of children. Another is that there are so few accounts of male slaves that were sexually abused that it makes it hard to write about it and to bring a light onto the situation. Now, throughout history, there has been much acknowledgement of the enslaved women being sexually abused, but the same cannot be said for males who also experience horrific sexual assault under American slavery. It's believed that rape of enslaved men has gone unacknowledged because of the current historical tendency to define rape along gender lines, making both victims and perpetrators reluctant to discuss male rape. Thistlewood mentioned in this homosexual account occurred that the enslaver and the enslaved boy who was a close personal servant of his. Now the question poses, is it possible that the sexual abuse occurred because the boy was in close proximity to the slave owner? Now, Foster helps answer the question by stating that this type of abuse follows a broader pattern and suggests close proximity to whites, the more likely the sexual encounter was to occur. Now, this is only one story. Now, this took place in Jamaica in 1787. This is just one account. This account is studied in colleges all around the world. More specifically, the University of Richmond. There was a lot of slavery in the Caribbean, South America, as well as here in America. And as we learned about in that book, They Came Before Columbus, it took place there because when you come off of the west coast of Africa, where all of the slavery came from, the Gold Current and the Canaries Current push you straight into the Caribbean islands, and it pushes you straight into South America. This is why your Brazil people speak Portuguese or patois. However, what we just read here, or what you just heard, was an account of a slave being buck broken, getting fucked in the goddamn ass. Move on for past slavery. To keep it in Jamaica, we had a powerful Jamaican who came over to America by the name of Marcus Garvey. This was in the early 1900s, right after the Reconstruction period in the 1920s. When Marcus Garvey came to America, Marcus Garvey, he had the Garveyites. He had people following him. People follow you if you're leading them in the right direction. And he started what was called the Pan-African movement, meaning the Back to Africa movement. Let's get back to our prominence. Let's get back to our riches. Let's get back to our success. Let's get back to our history. Let's get back to our gold. Let's get back to these fertile grounds. Let's get back to our mastery. And that's what the Pan-African movement was about, y'all. Now, he said when his Pan-African movement, there was no place for gay or lesbian people to be an executive, okay? They say homosexuality and lesbianism should not be encouraged in an organization because it's anti-life. We see it as demeaning the extension of life. Come on now, keep up. Keep up. How can you be militarily sound when you do not regenerate reinforcements? You have to regenerate, you have to regroup, and you have to come back more powerful. You have to get reinforcements. If you are not reinforcing your posture, you are losing. You're losing ground. You are no longer relevant. Now, we go through there. Fast forward 30-some years, because we learned that out of Garveyism, we get the migration of blacks up and out the South, right? Now, there were blacks that were in New York City and several of these places, but the mass populace of blacks started to migrate up out the South in between the 1930s and the 1950s. Now, one place that a lot of immigrants migrated to was Chicago. You know, Chicago was a major place. One particular person's family migrated there. You guys may be familiar with this person. He goes by the name of Emmett Till. Now, Emmett Till was somebody who was brutally murdered for whistling at a white woman. After they beat this boy's ass and killed him and threw his ass in a lake in 1955, a 14-year-old boy. Now the lady later came back and said that she lied about this. She got a black boy killed over nothing. Be careful with them white women, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Be careful with them goddamn white women. However, Emmett Till was murdered. The same way George Floyd was murdered. Same way Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and Tamir Rice and Sandra Bland were murdered. The same way you see uprisings going on in America right now, black folks did that shit back in 1955. Out of this is where you get the jump starting of the civil rights movement with the Southern Leadership Council. You see a lot of Nation of Islam and things like that start popping up around this time, after this time, y'all. Nation of Islam, and the Southern Christian Leadership Council. These things what basically gave light to the plight of Black Americans. Now, during that time, you were starting to see the building and the development of many of the housing projects that have since been, for the most part, torn down. There are a few housing projects that still exist, but by and large, most of the most iconic housing projects have been torn down and replaced. They called them housing projects then, but because of the negative connotation around it, they now call it low-income housing. Same shit, different toilet. Come on now. Now, when they created these projects, okay, you had a lot of white folks that were in the inner cities. They were occupying the inner cities. After the migration up out of the South, they had to compete with black folks to do these jobs. Now, if I gotta stay stationary working in a goddamn steel mill, working in a motherfucking plant, after I done been out here hauling ass, having this fucking donkey drive me around these 300 acres of land, picking cotton and shit, alright? Who am I going to hire? Who is going to be more sufficient to do this motherfucking job, y'all? The black men. Up comes labor unions. Labor unions were meant the labor unions were meant to keep black men from having jobs. Your steel mills, your auto processing plants, your factories that were once in the inner city, all that shit got moved out to the suburbs. When it got moved out to the suburbs, the black man did not have a way to feed his children. In comes Big Daddy Government. Big Daddy Government says, I'll take care of you, black woman. But you gotta get rid of your man. You gotta get him up out of the house. A black man who didn't have a way to get out to the suburbs because the suburbs are just now being developed. They didn't yet have bus lines to get out there. Keep in mind, things were still segregated. And they started moving these factories out of the inner cities. They started cutting off the way for a black man to feed his family. The industrial agricultural days the agricultural revolution days were over. We were now in the way of the industrial revolution. Steel mills, factories, Henry Ford coming out with the assembly line. This was the way that the world was turning. Way that America was turning. Come on, keep up, people. I hope that y'all still woke right now. You feel me? Now, since this is the way that the world was turning, people had to do their best to do what they could do. Black men without a way to feed their families, they had to either leave the household, those who could. During this same time, America gets into the Vietnam War. Guns, oil, and drugs. That's what God stands for in America, y'all. Now, it ain't no gold over in Vietnam. So what God, or what element of God were they looking for over there? And that's what I'll say about that. Now, with the fathers going off and dying at Vietnam War, and the people who were in America the black men that were there who couldn't find jobs. We had a problem. The black fathers had to leave the household. And since the black fathers had to leave the household, we get fatherlessness for the first time. And the black people were able to hold on for a little while because we are a tribal people. So if your father ain't there, then the community, you will have a father figure. Okay? Uncle Leroy, who might be your father figure, your daddy ain't there, but you will have a father figure. Okay? Now, that was gonna work for a little while, but instinctively inside every child, they know I got a mama and a goddamn daddy. So the daddy is there to regulate that motherfucking household. Daddy is gone, y'all. The government then told the woman, listen, I'm gonna take care of you. Your man can't take care of you. Fuck with me. You feel me? They was up in there and singing, fuck with me, you know I got it. That's how the government was back in the 60s. You feel me? Now when you had black men going over to the Vietnam War, they were coming back dead. Those that weren't coming back dead were coming back strung out on that motherfucking heroin, man. In comes hard drugs into the black community. Now, drugs was a secondary way of breaking the black man down. If they strung out on heroin, how can you possibly be a father? How could you possibly be a man if you out here strung out on that dope? Keep up now. How could you be anything? You're supposed to be all that you can be, but you strung out on that motherfucking narcotic. Those that wasn't strung out on that narcotic, they left their families and they basically became the first bum ass niggas. To use a modern ghetto term. You feel me? These are the ones that became what the new females call ain't shit niggas. Hey ladies. Now, with these ain't shit niggas, let me take my time with this. Ain't shit niggas, that was the beginning of that destruction. 1965, Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the sociologist David Patrick Moynihan, he said that the rise in the single mother black families that was caused by, not by a lack of jobs, but by a destructive vein in ghetto culture would be traced to slavery times and continued discrimination in the American South under Jim Crow. Sociologist E. Franklin Frazier had introduced that idea in the 1930s, but Moynihan was considered one of the first academics to defy conventional social science wisdom about the structure of poverty. As he wrote later, the work began in the most orthodox setting, the U.S. Department of Labor, to establish some statistical consciousness where everybody knew the economic conditions were in the black community. Now, basically, what he said is that the steady expansion of welfare programs can be taken as a measure of steady disintegration of the Negro family structure over the past generation. The report concluded that the structure of family life in the black community constituted a tangle of pathology, capable of perpetuating itself without assistance from the white world. And that at the heart of the deterioration of the fabric of Negro society is the deterioration of the Negro family. It is the fundamental source of the weakness of the Negro community in present times. Also, the report argued that the matriarchal structure of the black culture weakened the ability of the black man to function as authority figures. This particular notion of the black familial life has become widespread, if not a dominant paradigm for comprehending the social economical disintegration of the late 20th century urban black life. Now, this was controversial when it came out into 1960, but this motherfucker was a prophet because every one of his goddamn words came to pass. Now, this person went on to say to Lyndon Baines Johnson, who took over after they capped and killed motherfucking John F. Kennedy, what he said was that Moynihan argued without access to jobs and the means to contribute meaningfully to support a black family, black men will become systematically alienated from their roles as husbands and fathers, which would cause rates of divorce, child abandonment, and out of wedlock births to skyrocket in the black community, a trend that already began in the 1960s, leading to vast increasing in the number of households headed by females and higher rates of poverty, lower educational outcome, inflated rates of child abuse, and that are allegedly associated with these factors. He made a contemporaneous arguments for a jobs program, vocational training, educational programs for the black community. Modern scholars of the 21st century, including Douglas Massey, believe that the report was one of the most influential in the construction of the war on poverty. Come on, man. This is what is going on, man. Now keep up, y'all. I'm going somewhere with this, man. I'm taking y'all to the bridge today. Come on, Trent, take him to the bridge. I already heard Wishbone in the background talking to me right now. I'm taking these motherfuckers to the bridge. Now, after you destroyed the very fabric of being a man, it was said right here. It said without the access to jobs, the means to contribute meaningfully and to support the black family, the black man will become systematically alienated from their jobs as husbands and fathers. And I'm going to make an insertion right here. I'm going to say as warriors, god damn it. This is where the warrior spirit went. The imagery of the black man began to change. You had a black man that was a father. You had George Jefferson, and then you had Huggy the Bear. You had blaxploitation movies where it was black men that his biggest thing was being a pimp and having some goddamn white bitches. What the fuck made a white woman such a goddamn prize? Ain't no disrespect to white women, but goddamn. The whole blaxploitation movie era, which saved Hollywood, by the way, was about pimping on some hoes and y'all not gonna believe this. Pimping on some motherfucking hoes, alright? This is what the blaxploitation era was about. It was about pimping on some hoes and having you a white bitch. This is the imagery that went out to the masses during the 70s, y'all. Okay? Bill Cosby came and regulated things in the 80s with the Cosby Show, but you see what the fuck happened to Bill, right? So now you, piece by piece, the crack took away that warrior class. The prison industrial complex took away that warrior class. But listen, I ain't done with this shit yet. I'm gonna break it down to the point where it cannot be broken no motherfucking more. Now, the imagery of the black man began to change. You were no longer seen as a father. You were seen as a nigga. And being seen as a nigga, your identity, your viewpoint, and your knowledge of self began to dwindle. God damn, I done went over with this. Now, you went away from having things that were necessarily male constructed things. Okay? These were not male constructed ideals. These were female constructed ideals. Meaning, women are leading the household. I love black women. I just don't think that they can raise black boys by themselves. If that's construed as disrespect, I will take it there. But I don't think that black women can raise black boys by themselves. We're moving on along. Without the male or masculine principle in the household, you start hearing a promotion of a term called strong black woman, which is some of the dumbest shit ever. All right? In the words of the late Baba Dick Gregory, you never hear white women referred to as strong. You hear them referred to as beautiful. Only thing I want strong is my motherfucking toilet paper and my Hennessy. Alright? I'm sorry, I don't sip Hennessy. My cognac. Alright? Give me a strong ass drink. Something that's gonna put her on my chest. But do not refer to my woman as strong. Refer to my woman as beautiful. Voluptuous. Refer to her as anything, but don't be referring to my woman as some inanimate object. Now, you heard this promotion of the term strong black woman, which gives the subliminal or the subconscious message that it's okay for you to be a single mother. Come on now, keep up. I'm going somewhere with this. It sends the indirect message that this is normal, that this should be promoted. Down goes the family structure. Out of that, you start seeing and hearing shit such as participation awards. I'm sorry, I said rewards, awards. Now, participation awards is your kid going to play basketball. He ain't necessarily a winner. They ain't on a winning team. The team fucking suck. But you say, it's all right, baby. You're good. Okay. Here's a fourth place trophy. The fuck up out of here. If you ain't winning yet, you're losing. Manhood is black and white, goddammit. The gray areas. We don't do that. Manhood is black and white, goddammit. I said what I said. Now, when you start making all of these consolation prizes, you bring out manhood. Because a man cannot exist in this gray area. Men are ruled and bound by logic. This gray area where these participation awards, this no structure shit, this not having a spine, this not having an itinerary, an agenda, an action plan. Manhood cannot survive within that shit. More specifically, a warrior cannot survive in that. What is a warrior supposed to do? Who is the target? Who is the threat? How do we destroy the target and the threat? This gray area, understanding my feelings. Men are from Venus, women are from Mars. This promotion, men need to get in touch with their feminine side. No, I don't need to get in touch with my feminine side. I need my motherfucking woman. I need my motherfucking family. My woman is my feminine side. God damn it, if both of us feminine, we both leaking from my motherfucking assholes. How the fuck are we gonna have structure around this bitch? This is the Parental Advisory Podcast, y'all. I'm cussing and shit right now. Now, in comes the reality TV era. Bad Girls Clubs, Real World, College Hill, all of this type of shit where it puts all their business out there. The promotion of the video hoes. It's commonplace to be a stupid bitch. Keeping up with the Kardashians. One of the most destructive things for the black community, because black culture has always been about shining, flow showing, popping your shit, as we learned earlier in this podcast with the Egyptians. That is where they fucked up and made their mistakes. The Nubians were more relaxed with their shit. The Somalians were more relaxed with their shit. The Egyptians popping their shit, flow showing, showboating, got their ass conquered, goddammit. Come on, man. I'm taking y'all motherfuckers to the bridge. Hello? Taking you to the bridge. That's where you want to go, right? Taking you to the bridge now. Anyway. Now. Popping all of that shit. In comes this keeping up with the Kardashian era. The black community once again goes back to something that we had gotten rid of for a while, which is the attention whoring. But when you see a Kim Kardashian come up off of being an attention whore, and I don't want to isolate Kim out because the whole Kardashians are attention whores. They famous for sucking some dick. Whether it's OJ's dick or Kanye's dick, somebody's dick got sucked. That's what that family is famous for. Hello? Hello? Kanye come out with these too tight clothes. This shit that look like some shit you done threw in the yard and ran over with the lawnmower and shit. All of this androgynous, booty leaking, gay, homeboy, fuckboy ass clothing this boy done came out with. Fucking with them Kardashians, y'all. Come on now. The Yeezys. Now he making all of these songs that are emo, and the boy don't know if he's coming or going. He's getting liposuction 1 week because he care about how he look. I remember when Kanye came out with College Dropout. I ain't too young to know about it. Come on now, keep up with me. He say, I ain't here to talk about the facial features. I'm here to convert atheists into believers. You know, atheist means the God of that state, but that's beyond the topic of this. When Kanye came out with College Dropout, that was a Warrior Spirit album. As time has gone on, the message has gotten diluted, Kanye. Come on, man. I'm living in the 21st century. Come on, man. Y'all know the lyrics to Power. He said, oh, man, the schools have failed, the prisons broken. The prisons open. We ain't got nothing to lose, so fuck it, we rolling. With a couple of light-skinned girls and some Kelly Rowlands. But he went and got a white bitch, y'all. Come on now. Kanye's first album, Kanye has a lyric where he said, in a land where niggas praise Yukons and getting paid, it's gonna take a lot more than do-rag to get you waves. Like it take a lot more than coupons to get you saved. But what's sad is that day my girl father passed away. So I promised to Mr. Rainey I'm going to marry your daughter, and I really want to thank you for the way that she was balled up. And you sent tears from heaven when you saw my car get balled up. Come on now. Come on now. He was talking about how his grandmama sat at the lunch counters. But now he's a part of the attention whoring. They done bred the warrior spirit out of Kanye, y'all. That is indicative of the current state of the black man today. Y'all know Kanye got some leaking booty hole ways. Hello? 2008, we get Barack Obama elected. By the masses, we went out and voted for this person. Again in 2012. Now, my views on Obama, I'll keep those to myself. But what I will say is that out of Obama, we get the LGBTQ legislation, passing of gay marriage bills. Come on, man. The rise of homosexuality. Inside of this homosexuality, it has taken over what it means to be black in America. But it has essentially moved the black man out of the way. Now, as it stands right now, I don't have any biological children. I have several kids that I've raised. I have been sport coaches for football and basketball. Have several girlfriends who I have helped raise their children. The boy childs, the young kings, the young men get inundated with homosexuality, gender confusion. You cannot allow your children to watch television unmonitored anymore because they sub-program and force feed your children homosexuality in their programming. This is the world right now. Where is it for a man to exist? There is no programming on television, for the most part, that leans towards men. You get a couple of men shows, and then within a season or two, they have taken the man element out of it. One of my favorite shows used to be Fast and Loud. It's a show about going in and rebuilding cars. And what they used to do was some very manly shit. They're gonna take the most raggedy piece of shit car, polish it up, chrome it up, go and find some old rust bucket sitting under a torn down board somewhere in buttfuck Kansas, y'all. Take that motherfucker up, sand it down, go and get some sheet metal, rebuild the motherfucker. It was manhood all the way around. It's like, because you a man, you supposed to be building some shit. You supposed to be doing something to make your girl pussy wet when she looking at you. Supposed to be out there slaving, sweating and shit. She supposed to be able to look at you and say, I have identified a man. A warrior. God damn it. In my Levi voice. That ain't taking place. What's taking place, y'all? I'm in my feelings. Well, no, baby, you can decide. No, baby, you can decide. No, you can decide. Man, make a motherfucking decision. Period. Understand this. It don't matter how much motherfucking money you got, ladies. Your man is still your man. You gotta respect him. It don't matter. It don't matter how much you know, how much education you have. This manhood, this warrior spirit, this is something that cannot be bought. It's something that is not taught in school. The pressure that's mounted upon you as a black man when you are cursed from birth in this nation of America, y'all. Come on, man. Keep up with it. You have a tremendous burden on your back in a system that is weighing you down. Something that's plagued against you. There is no recourse. There is no way forward. There is no way out of it but to go through it. You can't maneuver around it. You can't, it's too high to get above it. It's too low to get under it. In the words of George Clinton, you just got to get straight into the groove of it. You got to be into your groove. So I'm going to end my dissertation today with restating the same question and answering. What happened to the warrior class? The warrior class is being bred out of the black man as we speak. It is a war against us. It is constant warfare. It's constant assaults, intellectual assaults, spiritual assaults, personal assaults, inflictions, bombings. When you have a whole government system that is put in place historically to keep you down. The Census Bureau is meant as a way to track niggas to make sure that niggas do not rise up and conquer shit. Disorganization, self-aggrandizement, egotism. Self-hate. The hater spirit. Homosexuality. And everything that I have stated here today. This is what happened to the warrior class, y'all. We all got to get on code. We all got to get on one page. And we all got to rise up and do better, man. I want to thank all my listeners, all my subscribers, everybody who tunes in to the Opinionated News Network. This has been a new episode of the Parental Advisory Podcast. I want to thank you for lending me your ear for the past hour and a half. I am the lead anchor and the gracious host of the Opinionated News Network. Peace.